This meeting is being recorded.
All right, welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to see you. And so we gather here today for a channeling with the Divine Feminine, the Cosmic Mother Creator. Divine, Cosmic Mother Creator, doesn't matter. We're not going to get hung up on words. We're just going to know that we're going to have the essence of Mother energies flowing through us and to us in the sacred space of love and unity and trust. And so it's faith that has brought us together today. It's faith that gathers us and brings our lights together. And I just want to share with you from myself that I'm just grateful that you're all here and you're all showing your support. And so as we proceed, we're going to address two questions today. And that is one that was brought forward by Hal, and it was about the dimensions, the third, the fourth, the fifth, for which we're all grown very familiar with. We've been talking about this ascension journey for a very long time now. And we certainly have been inundated with a lot of conversation about dimensions, and everybody has their own spin and take on it. And so it is very much been handed up and handed down and back to us to explore that today. The other question we've already begun to explore, and I know that it will be interlaced with the answers that come forward with the third, fourth, and fifth dimension, and that is more insight awareness and expanded awareness and around the divine feminine, the sacred masculine, the merging, the union. So I'm not going to carry on much longer with that because I'm just going to let the information travel through me to you, okay? So taking a moment, I wrote something and it was very important to me to share this with you. Actually, I pulled this from my first time I did a spontaneous channeled session where Kieara Sophia Rose came in to introduce herself and her connection to me and the merging of our light body. And this has been an integration that had begun, well, probably since I entered the space of the earth plane, but certainly came more into my awareness in May. And then increasingly I became aware come September. And so I offer you this, that this was something that she had offered and the Divine Mothers have invited me to share this with you. And it gives me great comfort and peace in offering you this before I proceed. Okay? And that, oh, I should put my glasses on. In order to unveil what has been hidden, it is most definitely not intended to replace one truth or dogma for another. Our intention is to shake old limiting thought forms and to awaken more coherent unity, self-empowering, and loving ways to be in relationship with your Creator, yourself, and your neighbor. Mother Earth and your life is your empowerment school. And so know that it is our intention, that we hold no intention to sway you to any new ideas. What we share with you will speak to your hearts. And so we begin. And now I take a moment just to align myself with the energies. Bless me on all levels, mind, body, and spirit. May all teachings be for the best and highest good for self and all of humanity. I now open myself to channel. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for each and every one of you who has come forward to join with us and join with our young Tammy. Her heart sings great joy, and you bring great comfort and peace to her as you stand present before her as your witness to yourself. As what we intend to do is hold forward comfort and love for you, and a mirror that will reflect back to you the very essence and truth of who each and every one of you are. We are here now gathered to empower you and to bring you together as you have brought yourselves together in great faith. And we have been following very closely as we've been very involved. And as you know, these energies have really brought forward the unity and the remerging and the merging of the sacred masculine, God, your Father God, with your divine mother love, your mother God. And so now one of the queries that has been brought forward is something that we are most amused by ourselves, because in the linear time of structure on your earth plane, we recognize that everyone is seeking a greater understanding, and it's creating great confusion among you about the dimensions of 3 dimension, 4 dimension, 5 dimension, upward. And truly, we are here to say that this is what resides within your heart center. Everything is of energy. And so now we hope not to complicate, but we choose to simplify that structure for you. We may not bring it forward in a way that's created more, we do not intend to bring it forward in a way that brings more confusion to you, but rather to simplify it. Because the spirit is not complicated. The spirit knows simplicity. And within each and every one of you, you already know what that point of reference is, because you've all been touched by it, experienced it, and you have held it for longer, more profound and prolonged period of time through your own essence. And so now we bring you back to the present time of now, centering yourself within your heart center and your own presence. We invite you to come in, and we invite you to come into yourself. This is your only point of reference in terms of which dimensional frequency you are witnessing in your outer exterior world by the one that you hold in a vibratory frequency within you. There is no ceiling on the frequency of the dimensions for which you are able to tap into, be turned on by, and tuned into in any given moment. It is only a matter for that which you are holding yourself in conscious space of awareness of in any given moment. See, already you're doing it. The love, the flow of unity It's increasing. Become very familiar with that energy. Become very familiar with that energy. For that is the very power in which you create in your every now moment. We will dial that up because anything that you're able to dial down by your very thoughts, the thoughts that you hold in any given moment will either assist you in experiencing more of that which you choose to create, in the very essence you choose to stand within and experience within you. Or it will regress you down, but that's okay. The point of stillness is within. Become present within. Is it important what number we apply at this moment? What if we are dialing up beyond the fifth dimension? It purely is a consciousness in which where you place your very essence, your intention, and your presence. It is one of love, kindness, forgiveness, appreciation, joy. You feel that now, you're experiencing it. Very simple. Is the essence and the truth and the nature of who you are. Your soul has a matrix. Your ego has a matrix. Know the difference. And we assure you, you are all on your own path. And you're exceeding great expectations in every given now moment. It's always about coming back to the presence of the now. Anything lesser that is pretty much like getting on an elevator and waiting and waiting and waiting. And you get dialed up and you get off. You don't get off. You arrive at the 6th floor, but you're waiting for someone to hand you something. And you stand there and you go back down the elevator. Don't fall down the shaft. The shaft of light is in you. This is the energy, the essence of who you are. This is the dimension within you. Many of you have already gone through this shift. Recognize that. Honor that. Honor the light that has expanded in each and every one of you already, that has brought you to the space. There are no accidents. You would not be here holding space together, finding each other's lights, if you had already not risen your own vibratory frequency to a level in which you are able to come together and find one another. Yes, there are very simple structure to third dimension being one. We could break it down. We could get very much into the teachings. We don't want to add the confusion, but we do know we will get there in our own time and in another space. You may think about it as the crucifixion, the resurrection, and the ascension. Not unlike the very same process, the Yeshua, the disciples of Mary Magdalene went through. Those very three dimensions. Although your crucifixion may be very different than his was of hanging on the cross, you went through initiation, and you continue to go through initiation. And allow us to clarify and be clear about what initiation is. It is the process. It is the process for which sorry, Tammy's just bringing herself back into the present moment herself. A process of initiation is what is presently occurring now, and some of you have moved well beyond that. And these are the experiences that you give yourself, the very experiences that you bring forward that are soul aligned with your soul matrix of your own expansion. There can be tremendous suffering in your choosing if you so choose to suffer, or there can be tremendous joy, happiness, love, and contentment. The very dimension is very much only where you put your point of attention and that which you focus yourself. And I assure you, no amount of ego focus in your physical form has any power greater than your very soul desire to expand. And so consider that your own resurrection. You have all just experienced your ascension here, now. Coming into that field of energy, that unified field of energy, that frequency of love, kindness, appreciation, joy. Unity and oneness. Each and every one of you are already making our transmission that much easier. See, there's very few words. It's that simple. It's only a matter of coming into the practice of being in the now and not pondering your past, not reaching for the future, but staying in the simple centered space of your own heart in every breath that you take in this now moment, and merging your breath with love, the eternal light flame of all that is. What a glorious moment. To be ashamed to interrupt it with any further conversation. We invite each and every one of you to go on your own journey and to explore this space, explore this dimension, limit yourself to no experience that you call forward. Stay in the vibratory field of love, in your heart centered, centered in the now. We invite you to have your own experience of this. And this is truly how you will be in your ascension and prolong your ascension and your experience of the fifth dimension and beyond. Your very breath keeps you grounded in this space and into the heart center of the breath of love. And why is that important? Because that is the internal truth, the eternal resurrection in the light of your ascension. Love is the vibratory frequency that is the connection to your oneness and the one with all and all that is. We must move beyond any illusions. See, this is what we speak of when we speak of the man and the egoic mind. We don't want to dismiss the importance of the value that it plays, but we certainly need to become very aware. What thoughts hold us in separation? And the illusion of being separate from your brother and your sisterhood and from yourself. Love binds you to the oneness and the oneness of all creation. That's who you are. You are God. And you are coming to know yourself in the wholeness. And with every breath you take, in every now moment, without pondering your past and reaching for your future, you grow more in this eternal light of knowing and trust. And soon all that once held you in separation, all the fears, all that we spoke of as initiation, that you were going through the process of removing the veils and the limiting belief systems that were once held in place, they're dissolving. This is the desire of your soul to expand. And every experience will be brought forward for you in order for that to occur. So you could not get off your path if you chose to. Even if your choice was to go through the resurrection process, through the death of your own physical body. This is a time of great celebration. You're beginning to experience the wholeness of you. That is moving out of the polarity and the duality that many of you are familiar with in the fourth dimension. All it is coming into the now moment of your heart center. This is the pure power of creation. And you experience yourself as the creators. It's interdimensional. You are the director of your own life. Everything. If you imagine just looking down upon the stage of all the chaos and confusion and seeing that everyone is an actor, including yourself. Everyone is playing their role. Your light is your light. To others, you are triggering them. And you're playing a tremendous role in favor of their own personal growth and development as they do for you. The very matrix of your soul, the flower of life that is you, knows these words, knows this essence, knows what it is that you're experiencing now. It's only the human mind that is trying to make a constructed thought of what it is. And that you have recognized no longer serves you. It's creating even greater confusion and more separation. So it removes the distortions and the veils of all the illusions formerly held into place. And now nothing is sacred. That is sacred, it moves out. As we have spoken of before, and we continue to say, we are celebrating you because we are all expanding. All is growing. All is expanding into more light. The DNA, the very activation of the codes within you, is allowing you greater access to more light, which brings more information. And so now you're hearing more and more of that which was once hidden from you. And fewer of you are in protest of that. How come? Because when you set aside the mind and the need to know from that perspective, knowing that that no longer serves, you come into your heart, your soul matrix, and it feels right, and it resonates, and it speaks a higher truth to you. And what it does, it aligns you. And then you become aligned with more information that brings more light. And that light just continues to feed and fuel the eternal flame that you are connected to right now in your heart center. In your very essence of your fifth dimensional frequency and beyond all your senses. Even my words mean as little, if anything, at all, greater than the very essence that you are connecting with within you. And then you can see the beauty through the eyes of Source, which is you. You can see the beauty of the truth, that there is no one to convince. There is no one to wake up. There is no one needing to come to rescue. It is you. You are doing this. And along the way, there is programming held in place from a belief system that we needed to suffer in the process. We can always choose to come into our heart and into the light of our own love and call forward to the eternal love. Just in every now moment with that breath. So the ascension process, we come now as we travel along our path. We come now to having brought ourselves into alignment. Man bringing himself or herself into alignment with the will of man, which is the divine will, your Father God. And now you deepen the spiritual practice, and you deepen and deepen your eternal knowing and connection to the Creator that is you, as you now align your energies with divine love, your Mother God. So now in union you have the will and the love, and you begin to experience the wholeness, the merging of the two, and that is having a great impact. There's been much distortion and removal as those who have embodied themselves in the physical form have had to clear from themselves and face much of the patriarchal paradigm that was once held in place, that held us back. It is not exclusive to only those in physical, feminine form, but we speak to you because you chose to come back to be the resurrection of that divine love, the mother love code. You know this to be true. And that is activating in the hearts of every man and every woman, a merging to a greater wholeness and a harmony and a unity and a forgiveness and an appreciation for all that is. For you cannot separate yourself. We assure you, young Tammy has much musings in her mind about having kind of rendered everybody into a very, very relaxed state. But this is all lovely. The very essence of who you are is being experienced now. So we assure her. That's right, that's good. Allow that information of light to flow to you. Many, many activations have been occurring. And now you're integrating and coming into a higher awareness. That's really what it is about, bringing it up into the conscious awareness. Not one of you needs to send out an intention for what it is you'd like to receive, as you know you're receiving precisely what is right for you. Take it in. It is all divinely aligned and right for you. Take it in. Allow it to expand in your cells. Allow the very awareness of being one with all form, with no separation, only in the divinity of love. None of you here who have gathered required any level of teachings. You are all masters, and this is the process towards self-mastery. All you need to do was to go into your own heart center and to breathe the eternal flame of breath, which is life, and life is love. You're already the adept. And it's how it is you gather here and you find yourselves together because you play this role. You take these energies out into the broader perspective. That's it, that's all. It's very simple. No confusion conversation about 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D. You're all channeled up very, very high, right up to source, the very source in essence that is you. I recognize for each of you in your own way, even if you may be skeptical to think so, your higher self is taking you there. And you're in communion with one. Hold yourself not in separation from others. Others will show up. All of you have your own unique way of expressing yourself and expressing your light. You are not separate from anyone or anything. You are the wholeness of one. We hold only the mirror for you to see yourself as such. Until you yourself have dissolved enough of your own separation to see yourself in that light. It is with great honor knowing that each and every one of you in this room does that for everyone that you encounter, whether you consciously realize it or not. We know each of you very, very well and the role that you play. As much as this may seem like a very strange earth walk, one in which you often have in the past, perhaps, even though we do not prolong our consciousness in the past. You've asked yourself, what was I thinking? And now you don't think. You drink from the holy light, the chalice is full, you let the light enter you with love. And you just radiate that out. It's so simple. Can you see how the programming, the distortions and the conscious misalignments in former creations of stories, now you're hearing the greatest story ever told is you. Is you. This ascension journey did not just begin when you woke up and when you found Facebook and when you found social media and everyone was talking about it. It did not just begin there. It began with the evolution of the world of creation. When we gather with the Council of Light, the Galactic Council. This is all the cosmic plan, for which all of you have played various roles on the great stage, transcending all space and time and realities and dimensions. Open yourself up to accept that and receive that and give the appreciation that we give to you for those very roles that you have played. Evolution has been occurring. Just go back and look at your caveman. Look at how the human physical form has changed. We're just planting seeds now because we know you're so wise and you are drawing from the intelligence of Mother Earth and the expansiveness of the cosmic sky intelligence, so you know what we speak. It feels good, doesn't it? The children that are entering the planet, the children that are here, they bring much. This is not unlike any of you as the adept. This is not unlike any of the other initiatory processes that your brothers and sisters at any other stage of time throughout the evolution of the ascension journey on this planet of our humanity has undergone. You too walk with ascended masters. You too have access to the angelic realm and great guidance. If you should require the unseen, but there is much revealing itself in the seen world, amongst yourselves, with each other. You're beginning to recognize the light in one another. This is about empowering you. You empower others when you're in that heart-centered space of your own inner empowerment of knowing. This is not force. This is the power of love. What is enlightenment? It is in light with one. It is one. So you have access to books, you have access to teachers, but how many of you require that now? If not only just to confirm and affirm that which you're already awakening in your own consciousness. Very exciting, isn't it? Very exciting to see how it's all merging and coming together. The very aha epiphany moment you didn't even know perhaps you were having. You awaken one morning, you have this new insight, this new awareness. You go on your social media, you talk to someone, and it's on the lips of everyone. Everyone's speaking it. Everybody awakened this morning talking about the light of Mother Love and the merging with Father God. By whatever language they chose to express it, it was all about the merging of the unification of love within. It was everywhere. It was exploding one after another. That does not happen by accident. That is the frequency that we bring together. That is the evolution. That is how consciousness, that which we awaken in our consciousness, you are the forerunners. You are the pillars of light. And more, when we talk about the light, code, frequencies, the plasma, all of that, that's activated in your cells, and that brings new information with that light. Don't fear the darkness as it escapes you. Don't fear that which comes up as fear itself, as the distortions. We're just clearing out the last little bit. And I know those of you have been tuned into this ascension story for quite some time are like, when is that going to happen? Your evolution for your own self is showing you, mirroring that to you in every given now moment, how much you've grown. Young Tammy woke up this morning recognizing, as a result of some occurrences in her own timeline trajectory and things that were unfolding for her yesterday, she is no longer the woman she was yesterday. Each of you in every now moment have shed those old cells. So we give you permission to take yourself down off the crosses and choose not to suffer in your own journey. But to find the light of your own information by just doing as you did. Just doing as you did. As all the adept. We only refer to Mary Magdalene now. We only refer to Yeshua, the disciples. They were all having, it was never discussed. Even your archangels, go back and do your research. The information is available. Seek it out if you must have reference. All had a union. There was no duality, polarity. There was no one without the other. So yes, we could talk about that, but that wasn't, we can do that at a time because we know there's great curiosity and interest. Why? Because we open this saying that this is what we are unveiling, that which was hidden, but it's only now being unveiled because it's no longer hidden to you. It is in your soul matrix. Those activations, those DNAs have awakened that. That knowing, now you have permission with everything that you have ever wondered, queried about, the innocence Yeshua himself needed to go through, we assure you, needed to go through initiatory processes. Yes, he did know, but he was also informed, as we knew at the time, that he was not, that the world was not ready. Each disciple had a feminine counterpart, as he did. So 12 was 24. And then over the years, as we are amassing in light and coming together now, those numbers grew to 144. All teaching, healing, sharing the word of love and the light. That's what we're bringing back. That is what is coming into union within ourselves. We know you know this. We know you know this. We know you know this. Otherwise, we would not be able to bring that forward and share that with you. And it's not to convert. It's not to raise. There is no separation. You only go within what resonates. It's planting a seed. The seed has already been planted. The seed was planted from the moment evolution began, from the moment the worlds began to be created. Christ consciousness. We are all in agreement about Christ consciousness. All of us. What is that? We're moving away from the very language and into the action. We are moving into the embodiment of love, appreciation, forgiveness, more generosity, more honesty. Look for the ways that you demonstrate that in your life. It's very challenging only when someone is withholding that from you, and many of you have experienced the betrayal. That is very much coming up at the moment. But know that those that are triggering that within you, the most deep-seated subconscious, the stuff that is there from lifetimes and lifetimes that you haven't even called up into your conscious remembrance. That's the little bit that's purging out. And it causes that tremendous pain and that suffrage. But not one of you stays in that space for long. And that's the beauty of it. You recognize yourself as pillars of strength and light. It takes hope. It's not just a hairy-fairy chasing this wild cosmic dream. Takes tremendous courage. If you never spoke another word to another, but you came into your own breath and into your own stillness and into your own love, and you found ways in your everyday to express your own generosity to self, your own love to self, your own kindness to self, your own acceptance of self, your own appreciation of self, your own honesty towards self, you would have done enormous good for others. Everyone would have been the benefactor of that. See, it all came back to what was in here. not what was out there. You just become very stilled and centered within. And you learn to hold that space as you did here. Now you learn to hold that space while the chaos of the world around you unveils the chaos and the distortions to you. And you do it with great trust and faith. How many have had an experience of their own persecution somewhere in their lifetime, at some point along their lifetime continuum, be it as a child, be it as an adolescent, be it as yesterday, be it as a wife, as a mother, as a sister, as a brother, as a father. And now you look back and you see that that was one of your greatest unfoldments, and you embrace it and you give gratitude and you give thanks. Because no point of focus given by the ego has more power than the soul's own expansion, the desire to expand. So all these experiences are brought forward in your best and highest light. So now dismiss it, take nothing personally. And we know that that sounds very easy, but you are the adept. Look at you. This was the easiest transmission. Everybody knows. Everybody senses it. And we are delighted to play the role of mirroring that for you. As you do others, you all show up for others, mirroring that unconditional love. The very essence that you have within yourself, without distortion, you are able to mirror and project out to others. Don't shrink back your light. Stay in your own pillar and let the world stage play out. And stay above it and watch it. And that is what Yeshua and Mary Magdalene and the disciples needed to learn to do. They also mastered that. That is your self-mastery. Why? Because they knew how things were going to play out, the unfoldment. But it was all for the greater good of the expansion of our evolution, everyone through time. You're doing tremendously well. Be joyful in you. So we invite anyone who may have a question, a query, or like clarification, understanding, something that we can offer, bring something to light, clear up anything that is kind of like niggling in the human mind. Please ask, and we will do our best to respond to you and meet you where you're at. Return to your innocence and your curiosity and your wonder. That is really the process. Having to let go.
I have a question.
Yes, please, Michelle.
Could you tell me what the overall everybody's consciousness, where is everybody at percentage-wise, through the ascension process? How awake?
Well, that's a very good question, Michelle. As you know, many people try to measure the awakeness. And the very attempt to measure the awakeness in the other creates separation. And we know that very much may sound as a disappointment in the riddle. But we understand that you're asking how much light is emerging and amassing and accumulating on the planet. Is this more your question? Are we rising in their ascension? We have surpassed that which was expected and anticipated. At one time, in your linear time now moment speaking. Sorry, we juggle many words not to confuse ourselves with you that way. We would have projected perhaps 5-10 years. Right now, you are in the transition. Many of you have already made the shift. And that is making this shift possible for others. Everybody is wondering when others are going to wake up. Stay awake within you and prolong the period of time of your own awakeness until you are holding your own awakeness in the light. The I am presence, standing in the form of your I am presence. In every now moment with every now breath. Expand yourself and stay there. And trust on the scene as it unfolds, everyone in their own way, whether it is mirroring back to you or not, is awakening. It cannot not happen. Everybody cannot get off the path. They've chosen to come here for the diversity and the experience. They chose to come here during this time of continued, we want to say a lifetime continuum of expansion and awakening. That's an excellent question. We'll continue to go with that transmission if you like. If anything we speak, you require further clarification or anyone else, you just let us know, okay? But we'll try to roll this out in a way that hopefully it's beginning to make clear understanding for you, because on a soul matrix level, you understand it already.
Thank you.
So, those that present you as not being awake in their own way there is, as we spoke to each and every one of you, we spoke about the very fact that you cannot bring yourself off the path. No focus of the ego can override and usurp the power that the soul desires for its own expansion, even if that requires the liberation of one through death. The illusion of the physical vessel itself going through the resurrection and the ascension process. Is that clear?
Yes. Thank you.
So we use an example actually that was shown to young Tammy last night. Out shopping, just, needing to move. We have to tell you that there's a lot of energies, as many of you experienced yesterday. So she was very much ramped up like an energy bunny, and we've made great apologies for what was occurring within her vessel yesterday. And she went out, and young people were referring themselves, they were referring in gift shops about how hard they were working, how little money they had to spend, and how tired they were at the end of the day. And how very little was beginning to make sense to them. And how it seemed the more they did, the less they were appreciated. Some even referred to corporate office. And now you look at that, and you look at the sequence of events that did not occur by happen chance. They occurred to show this very demonstration that is coming, and this illustration is becoming very valuable now to the awakening process. Because then we began to speak to her as she walked through the parking lot, reflecting on all these conversations that just spontaneously were coming into her consciousness, into her awareness with people speaking to her. And so we said, so now you see, as a tangible example of the awakening process and how it is occurring. Those with great material wealth are awakening to the fact that they are bankrupt in love, they are bankrupt in happiness, and they're bankrupt in family and unity. So many, perhaps not all, but it's increasing, are beginning to come into that higher state of awareness. What is it I am doing? That is again the beginning of the initiation process. When one begins to question their own life and the example that their life is mirroring back to them. And then they begin to query about how to make things simpler in life. How did I get to where I am today? Am I happy? I'm less joyful the more I have. Whose dream did I follow? Was this my dream? Or was this a dream that was sold to me? We know those questions, those musings begin to occur, right? That's the beginning of a seed that's planted and the beginning of an awakening of a consciousness, which creates the offspring of a soul's desire to expand and to experience something different in this earth walk. So we leave them to it. And we hold the mentorship of the light, of simplicity, walking in love and happiness, as our children show us, as those on the planet with the least amount are seen to be expressing the greatest amount of love and joy and harmony and peace and brother and sisterhood and are rich in ways. Is this not true? As our examples, the material world, again, is the separation. It creates that separation from the unity consciousness of all being one. And then we have the young people who are now going to begin. They already have that kind of indigo energy. They already have that awakening. All their DNA already has a wisdom and an infinite knowing and a knowledge that you are also expanding for them. Where now they are going to address within themselves, how do they choose to live out their life? How would they make it simpler? Do I want to accept what my parents perhaps or others have mirrored for me? Is this the great dream? What do I really require? One girl said 14% housing costs had gone up, and yet nobody's check has risen to that. You can see the very things that we could rage against with great mighty storm and force and putting all our attention to. How dare our governments, how dare our systems, this makes no sense, are actually, by the very virtue of how it's unfolding and playing out, working to the light advantage of awakening the consciousness and those that are caught up in that frequency. Eventually you grow very tired and you all begin to awaken and ask those questions, the initiation. Be the example. Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, the disciples, the roles they played was never to usurp anyone's power, to never be the guru, the teacher, the master. There was self-mastery. They were mentoring by example. And that's how they stayed above in the world stage, watching the chaos play out, knowing that it was all paving the way for this day where we continue to walk in their path and Isis and Osiris, and we can go back. We're not being selective about one. And we are certainly not speaking in a religious form when we speak their names. We are speaking in the unity consciousness of love. There was no dogma. There was no intention for that. They were also introduced to the mystery teaching schools around the world. You will only need to tune into yourself and take counsel with your own light. As we share this, again, the unveiling of that which was once hidden is only becoming revealed because it's a more awakened and aware in your own consciousness. It's emassing. What is it when we say you are the living library of truth? It is in your DNA and your codes. It is in the very essence of who you are and the very knowing of who you are. So we are very delighted to express that which you must and could be sensing yourself in order for the higher states of consciousness and the light that brings more information down to be shared and revealed, and then you share it. You hold that frequency, it gives you great hope, it gives you great courage. You were in, it's the coherence with the mind and the body and the spirit, all unified as love. Your science is showing that. So all of that is self-evidenced, Michelle, that more light is awakened on the planet. Where one or more gather together in the I am presence, magic unfolds, power of light grows, and it emits a vibratory frequency. Much like Mother Earth does herself with tornadoes and volcanoes and windstorms and, we can say great destruction. It's all raising new awarenesses, right? Was that helpful to you?
Yes, thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. You're welcome. It was a very good question. And certainly, as you can see, that we'll leave you to it, because we certainly know that when we ask the questions, now we've been given sort of like sometimes it's just holding a mirror of a permission slip to begin to allow our mind to look for more examples of evidence. But if we become bogged down, we are really, really, really encouraged now. Could you imagine in the times, the biblical times, let's call them not. We would rather not. We will call them in the times of the unfoldment that brought us to the ascension of Yeshua, which created his whole trajectory timeline, was to create the Christ consciousness. The seed, the DNA, the consciousness that is planted within each and every one of you as a result of that historical walk in time. And now you walk that path with that knowing. And so now you hold the Christic consciousness yourself, which is your love, your kindness, your generosity, your courage. Could you imagine if more energy was given to that which was growing in the heresy and the Roman, and all of the unfoldment was given to the fighting of that, and not staying centered in the community, the collectiveness, just like we are holding here as a collectiveness of light, of a gathering, of equality, union with feminine, female, masculine, male, no separation, as one is whole with source within, the Alpha, the Omega. So we have the will of God, and we have the love of Mother. And now we speak of the love of Mother, because it be thy will of man to bring back the essence of the pure nature that had, you cannot remove one part from the whole. We have seen the great chaos that has transpired. So we, as the feminine form, the physical form, are clearing out the patriarchal paradigm and finding great strength and opening our throat centers. We don't judge our brother and sister. We don't judge our brother and sister for their own chosen path, whatever it might be. Everyone is falling down their own rabbit hole of creation. Now, could you imagine if Yeshua and Magdalene and the disciples and those who gathered in their light as the Essene, as the Adept, if they spent all their energy wondering about how to awaken the angry, asleep masses, the ones that were gathering to say, no, no, no. I mean, those that are determined to see separation will see separation until they choose to either see unity or their soul creates. What is initiation? Initiation is that process of which there is no return. It is that experience that is called forward for which all of you have received. And you are seeing others receive it to the point where now you've had such a profound experience. It could come by illness. It could come by separation, divorce. It could come through a horrific trauma to another that you love in your family. It could come through great disillusionment and betrayal, but now you awaken to something greater, and you've passed the threshold of no return. And once, every single time, you come into a greater expansion of awareness, of knowing, of an inner knowledge, of an inner wisdom, of an inner truth. It matters not to you what others speak, but you can't go back. The initiation is there. You continue to go through that process. All of us have done it. All of us continue to do it. So we have great hope for all mankind, particularly now more than ever through the courage of bringing back the mother love. Are we not feeling a difference? And it's being spoken about now very openly. Are we not perceiving a difference in the light and in our own lightness of being? Just always go within. There's free will. You just always go within to what resonates with you. All of us can remember a time, please, if ever I invite you to have a moment with your past, when we speak of awakening of others, because I really want to create easement and way of the illusion that we are here somehow having to twist the arms and drag the wretched souls up to the light with us. Waste of energy. A waste of energy. Well, first of all, who are we to determine their wretched souls? Maybe we need to look inside of ourselves. How is it that I should judge my brother for being a wretched soul? I can choose that I don't want to be in his company or her company. I do choose not to give my energy to that energy. I choose to bless it and understand it for the gift in which perhaps it's mirroring something for that person that will awaken them in their experience. But I've been there, done that, thank you. So I send love to you. And I still walk in kindness. Why? Because I deserve peace. I deserve self-love. I deserve my own kindness. And that's what I'm here to model for me. And what I'm able to model within me radiates out to others. So you can imagine the waste of energy we don't want to give. We want to encourage that we accept that everything is moving along as it always has in the evolution and the ascension. Something that we could speak to that hasn't been spoken to is that the planet itself, Mother Earth, has ascended. This has been marked in historical times, 2012. It's already occurred. And we're here to mirror and celebrate with you and allow you to take some of the pressure off your own backs of the illusion, the distortion, and the giddy up, let's go of the third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension. How are we going to get there? When are we going to get there? I'm on the elevator. The door's open. I don't know if I should get off or not. We're waiting for an invitation to get off. We're on it. Feel into it. You all started there. Stay there just a few minutes. Look, you expanded it. How many of you now, where I started this conversation with you to answer that, how many of you can recall, if ever we invite you to go back in the past in time, somebody who might have spoken something such as what you have heard spoken more recently, and you've thought, what a crock of shit. What is this this is crazy, this is lunacy. Or you go, a friend recommends, young Tammy remembers, she recalls greatly wonderful friends along her path who introduced her to Abraham and gave her cassette tapes in the day. She listened to them and she thought, I have no clue what they're talking about. The first time someone went, she remembers. So we invite you to remember the times when you yourself were not ready for that information. You thought it was complete, utter nonsense. You also remember the times when you were told something, either from the scriptures or from someone else's construct. Remember, you would ask as a child, how come? Because we said so. How come? You might go to work now. How come? Because we have always done it this way. You're like, why? It makes no sense. The very thing our children are doing in schools now and in their families now. So you see both sides of the light within you. The one that was awake enough to know to challenge back, how come? But then you were shut down and told because. That's the way we do it. You were programmed. And then when someone offered you a new program, you weren't ready for that new program. And you thought it was crazy. Now you cannot eat enough of it. Abram, like any of them. The talking stones. You don't even need to read the book. You want to go out and talk to the stones yourself. You can see your own evolution in a short period of time. And no one had to come pull you by the hair to get you there. Your very soul brought you to it and will bring you through it. That is your soul matrix. That is your greatest strength. If you teach anyone anything, show them your shine and your love and your easement of all life. And hold the light, the mirror of seeing the oneness in them. And if it helps, recall a moment in your own time when you held that in separation from you. So we hope that was helpful. Thank you. Is there anyone else who might have a query? We're hot and on a roll. We finally got her out of the way. What happens oftentimes when you're preparing for a transmission is you still have that kind of your own little thought forms. That's very much how we walk in life. We think about how everything is going to unfold, and we think about what we're going to say and what we would do in certain instances. And if we just allow ourselves to be in that present breath of the now moment, it will all be fresh and innocent and pure and in the moment and purely right. I just want to invite each and every one of you to love yourselves and allow the mother's love in. Allow it in. And know that you too walked. You too walked in the light of your mother. And that would not be possible, Michelle, as you know, if there was not more information and light on the planet. So, any other questions before we?
I have a question.
Certainly, Andrea.
This is about our ET friends.
Yes.
That a lot of people have been having pictures and showing different pictures and making posts about them. And I want to know when they're going to show themselves to other people besides us that who already know that they're here.
Well, again, my darling, that's a wonderful question. Thank you very much. And you do have them arriving and showing themselves to you. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, just to stay on this note of evolution, and everything unfolding in the light, in the right time, in the right order for each individual in their own alignment and their own readiness. We share with you this humble truth as we have shared with Michelle and everyone else when it comes to awakening in others. People were seeing ETs before you did. Do you understand what it is we say when we say that? And now you are too. And one day they themselves will, as they open themselves up to the experience. I assure you, the children that are arriving on this planet most definitely indeed do. And sometimes, if it might be this that we speak to, sometimes we find great comfort in the knowing that, you know, there are people, okay, this is wonderful. We meet in a collective like this. We meet in different groups. I mean, already many of these groups are held private because people are not comfortable in putting themselves out in this space yet. You will see a great evolution unfolding in that area as more courage rises with the hope, where more people are living out loud and sharing their own truth and standing so powerfully and so strongly in their own light that they're no longer concerned with what others might think of them. They're no longer concerned that perhaps they should hide themselves to not expose themselves as being crazy. A courtroom would fill itself and overflow itself now to support anyone who is being held in contempt of crazy for seeing an ET. So sometimes we ask these questions, or we're motivated by, it will give us comfort because you feel a little isolated. You feel a little alienated by the very experiences that you have. And now there's people in your life that you would like to have that conversation with, and you're fearful. You're fearful about their response and then how they may judge you. We invite you to gently begin to explore how it is perhaps you still judge yourself and feel uncomfortable with it yourself. And as you grow in your own comfort, as you grow in your own acceptance, as you grow in your own appreciation, you will go stronger in your courage to share your curiosity, your innocence. You will find your own unique expression and way to bring it forward. And I do perceive, Andrea, you will be quite surprised by some of the responses that you receive, because more and more this is how it happens. We have this inner knowing. We have to trust it. Sometimes we'll know when someone is ready to hear us speak it, because they themselves are just craving to know they're not crazy. They themselves know that they, oh, you too? I thought it was only me.
Yeah.
So trust your inner knowing, trust your heart to tell you. There will always be, as young Tammy is recognizing, even with her own feelings and the things she shares, there will always have to be great discernment exercised in who you choose to share that very, very delicate information with within you, with another. Be wise to that and wise to your own knowing. But the time of hiding is really, really lifting. That is part of the veil that's lifting. There is more look how open this is. Look how many more public groups there is. Look how much more conversation. Look, go in the toy sections. Watch your cartoons, your movies. People are being exposed to ETs. Look at Avatar. Look at movies that are being produced. Star Wars. How many generations later still speak of the generations of Star Wars? Look at the toys. Look at the stuffed animals. Look at the imagination of the children and the pictures that they draw. Look at the pictures that you draw. So it's already occurring. Even, light language, children that are speaking it, adults that are speaking it. How many of you are having these conversations more openly? Much of what we bring to an expression is what we bring to an expression of our own level of confidence to speak it. If we speak it rather matter-of-factly, as though it's like, oh, I thought everyone did, it kind of buffers things a bit, doesn't it? Than tippy-toeing around like I have this deep-rooted secret and this horrible little thing about me that I do late at night in my room. When I close my eyes, I talk to E.T. So we invite you now that just whatever is kind of holding you up and a little bit of that resistance to be curious about when, because we have this concern that we're going to stand so alone, so alienated, and so isolated until someone else is ready to accept it. We come within ourselves and we just look at, what have I not accepted about this for me yet? What do I still judge? What do I still fear? And until the time is right, talk about it. Find your comfort level. Find the groups. Find the collectives that you resonate with. It would be not any different than if you played a sport. Would a person who was really invested in the energies of, let's say, playing your ice game, your hockey game, would they have any interest in sitting with someone who plays a musical instrument, for instance? Probably not. They would feel like they were aliens to each other. What is this delicacy with the hands and the toilet paper having to be a certain way, and I don't want to break a nail or it would affect my playing? And they're like, put the gloves on, can you see how to, even in that everyday existence, tangible example of how our worlds work, so we all have our own, it's not a secret society anymore, but we all have our comfort levels. Don't unnecessarily put yourself into a place of discomfort, a place that's going to cause you regression. If it's not a good, cool thing to do with your family, go, okay, I talk to ETs, then, hold back on that for a moment, We hope that's helpful to you. Everything comes back within ourselves to run it through our own filters and creates an opportunity for each and every one of us to discover what it is within ourselves that holds ourselves in separation to the very thing that we desire. You are all givers. You are all desiring for others to awaken to the joy that's in you and the new experiences and the new earth and the new creation and the new, awaken more of it within you and just embody it. That is the Christic consciousness. That's it. That's all. That's what it is. You step into that light. I will give you an exercise now. I will give you a very exercise that Yeshua and all others themselves did. Stepping into the I am presence, not thinking. You're not going to be stepping into the light for the purpose of ascension. You're going to step into the I am presence of who you are. Hold your own space. Allow the eternal flame of love with every breath to enter into your heart center. And stay there in that expanded space. And stay there for 5 minutes. And then increase that until you are fully embodying the I am presence with no duality, no polarity, and no separation. You can start with 5 minutes as he did, in linear time speaking. You can expand that to 5 times 3 in a day. You can expand that to 10 minutes. Just come into that internal place of the I am presence, the oneness, the true creational story that is you and all that is, not separate by form from anything, anyone. We offer you this as you may have your own ascension exercises, but we offer you this as a little practice. Many of you are already doing it, but do it with a consciousness now. Do it with a conscious intention. And we will work with you, your higher selves, your guidance will work with you to infuse you with that vibrational frequency of no separation in the I am presence with all that is, so that we continue our journey as we started it, as we offer to Tammy. That as we unveil the hidden, that which was once hidden, we hold no intention to create a new truth or a dogma. We only offer you, it's only our intention to shake loose all the old limiting beliefs, to bring you into self-empowerment, unity and love, a greater wholeness with divine will and divine love, your mother love. Increasing the compassion for self increases this compassion for others. Increasing the unity within self, the coherence of oneness within self, increases your appreciation, acceptance for all diversity, all difference, all humanity. It allows you to begin to see no separation, and it allows you to create a deeper relationship with your Creator, yourself, and your fellow man and woman and child. The exercise we offer you is the I am presence. Create conscious connection to that. I am sensing
Thank you very much, Tammy.
Yes, I am sensing now that we have all gained much from this experience with one another. And so now if you would wait, young Tammy, I know she would like to return to this room with all of you to bid you farewell. We want to thank you. And we hope that we have done what we have set out to do, and that is to mirror to you yourselves. And we do look forward to future transmissions and interactions with you. And if it requires any of you would like to meet one-to-one, we would gladly do so. But we certainly do hope that your needs were met with respect to the two very diverse but same questions that were put forward today. So just one moment now. Ooh. Okay. Wow. All right. Well, what does someone say?
Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. How
That
was
was
that?
great. Thank you very much.
I'm glad to hear that.
It was beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, good. Okay. Vincent,
Fantastic.
what's that?
Great. It was fantastic. So grateful. Thank you.
Oh, good. Okay. I feel like Aaron, I have to tell you, everybody, that it's much like being in a hypnosis session. So you're the observer. You know what I mean? Like you're still observing from a very removed place. So you can the thought form is still kind of in a bubble, kind of going, they're all asleep. What do I do? You know, and they have to say, you do nothing. But that part of you wants to still do something. It's like, you do nothing. You know, it's like, it's a very interesting dance until you warm up into it. And this was really awesome. So, all right. Well, I'll watch the replay, and I can't believe they cued me. Like I looked at the phone, so I know we've been at this a little while. And thank each and every one of you. Thank you for holding this
Thank you very
space
much.
with me.
Thank
And
you.
I would like to thank the Council of Light, all of your higher selves, your guides, yourselves as just the unified one. I just never felt everybody in their own pillar of strength and oneness so strongly. I mean, wow. Wow. You're the only evidence you need about how much light is on this planet at this given moment. It's right there within you. That is, you're holding the bar pretty darn high, and trust that it's activating and awakening others to want to desire more for themselves. So thank you so much. Thank you. Mwah. And yes, our alpha, omega, and all the way through. There's no separation, so we don't have to delineate anyone, including yourselves. I'll shut off the